quite there yet. You're still muted. She's see what she does to me? She's still muted.
Okay, now we are live on Facebook. We're going to start again because we were live on Facebook.
Okay, no wonder.
There was one additional step. So now look at your phone. You should be able to see that we're live.
Cindy's trying to be a manifesting generator. And
I know. Well, it's like there's 4 steps, and since I'm not usually the one going live, I don't see all the 4 steps. But welcome everybody. We're going to start again. Welcome to the Quantum Alignment Show. I'm Cindy Harley, and this is Jamie, our potion lady. And we are guest hosting the Quantum Alignment Show this week as Karen is off watching her daughter graduate college. Okay. And now we're going to do the yay again. She deserves. For those of you on Zoom with us, we're all doing yay again.
Do it again.
And what we were doing when Jamie and I were talking about it, and how we responded to whether we wanted to be the one that was going to do the Quantum Alignment Show, we were thinking about it, and we wanted to do a little bit of a follow-on to last week's conversation that Karen and Rebecca Hansen had on Uranus and Taurus transit. Uranus is still in, or just at the very beginning of Taurus. So what we were going to say is when you think of the planet Uranus, or you think of the unexpected, the revolution, the surprise. How about, do you have other things that you think of, Jamie?
That it's usually for me the unexpected. It really sticks out, but I wish I could remember. Rebecca actually made a really great list, and it was all kinds of things on it. I mean, I remember yoga was sticking out. Like it was knowledge. I'm trying to think what else was there. I know there was like
there would be knowledge. There could be, it could be the unexpected. It could be large groups. It could be all those different things. Pardon me?
Electronics.
It could be affecting your electronics. We have our fingers crossed it's not going to.
I'm struggling to share this with somebody that wanted to see it.
But as you've got that, so when all this unexpected or all this change, like this is an outer planet, so this is a change, so it's coming through the sign of Taurus. So that's the energy of, that's a very earthy energy. It's actually very fixed earth energy. And so that's where it can be shaking up, it could be shaking up the earth itself. It could be shaking up on how you can, how you feel grounded, what your values are, things like that. And all that turmoil, when we were talking about it, we talked about this on our weekly show, that we have one over on our Quantum Energist page. But when we were talking about this, we were thinking, well, when these things come at you, you react one way. You either react unconsciously, or what was the one tool we were talking about? You want to share that, Jamie? That, a tool.
Oh no.
Okay.
I do this every time.
Okay, Jamie.
I channel a lot. Yeah, I just
but let's think about now. What are you doing? That's a tool. We stop.
The centering. Yeah.
We stop. Take a pause. So it's taking a pause, and what you're doing, and this is a lot of what I think you learned and what we were taught using the heart math. Is you're taking the 5 conscious deep breaths.
Yeah.
Before you react, before something comes out of your mouth.
That's really hard.
or before you quickly run away.
Yeah, just yell something and
duck and hide.
Yeah, I'm out of here. The fallout's coming because But and it seems to be like taking in that, like practicing the pause, that deliberate breath. It's like that's when we come to that space of acting, but taking deliberate action. Where if you can just stop for just a minute and just breathe and recenter and reconnect in that moment, you might still be mad, you might still be angry, but it gives you that chance to just go, okay, At least you're just not responding in anger. You can just say, okay, you know what? I'm really freaking angry right now, but let me see it for what it is, or get a little more, hold on it. Or
Well, I'm gonna ask your sacral. How
Mhm.
would you like, or Jamie's sacral, how would you like to take us through one of those, the pause, the dropping into your heart breathing?
Okay.
Do you feel like doing that right now so
Mhm.
that people can see it, or they can come back to
Mhm.
the replay and
Sure.
practice it with you?
Yeah, my sacral's saying so I guess we're doing it. Yeah, so it's really about just getting comfortable. Personally, like to place my hand over my heart or hands, tuning in and taking a deep breath in and out. And when we do, really imagine your heart acting as if it were your lungs. So as you breathe in, you're going to see your lungs or your heart expanding as your lungs would expand. And then we're going to pause on that breath. And as we do, really allowing yourself to feel the expansion. And then when we release, of course, just letting it go and letting it out, then everything kind of contracts back in. So for right now, just tuning into that and getting used to that, seeing that. So a nice deep breath in, breathing in through your heart and pausing and letting it go. And again, deep breath in, pausing and letting it go. And again, a nice deep breath in and really start to see your heart expand. And pausing and letting it go. And now, this time, as we breathe in, really breathe in what it is that centers you, what it is that you need in this moment. Do you need love? Do you need more compassion, more mercy, more forgiveness? Maybe you need more sunshine. It's been raining for a week here. I could use the energy of sunshine. So, whatever it is for you right now that you need, breathe that in. And as you do that, see your heart filling with that. So, breathing in and really allow the expansion here as we pause, allowing it to fill your cells and breathing out. And again, nice deep breath in, breathing in as your heart expands. And you're bringing in what it is you need right now. And letting it out. And now, as we breathe in, we're going to do the same, breathing in, and we're going to pause. And then when we exhale, it's really about putting that energy out into the environment around you, into the room around you, into the people around you. You might hear my puppy snoring, putting it into the puppies around you, just really starting that Taurus field of just whatever it is that you need coming into and through. So breathing in and holding, and now letting it out into the environment around you. And one more time, breathing in, really allowing and feeling the expansion, holding, and letting it out into the environment, letting it ripple out. And as we come back more centered here, we'll take one more breath. Nice deep breath in and in through your heart. And pausing for a moment and letting it out.
That was very nice.
Thank you. I always crack up when I catch myself on my sleeping.
Okay, now we're both.
Now I only see you.
Oh, well, we're both. I had spotlighted you so that people would be watching you as you were doing it. So now, if you click on
Oh, I can click that gallery. There we are. I like,
Now we're both back again.
okay, yay.
Yay, because we like to see each other.
No.
So as we were, I mean, so that was one way. And even if you can't take, so say you're in a situation that something's thrown at you that was totally unexpected, or as it wasn't necessary, you just walked into something that was totally unexpected. And you're just, it kind of takes, it's almost at the point that this one would have, it could have swept you, you know, right off your feet. It's that unexpected. You might not have time to do, you know, a 5 minute, but you can do what Jamie and I do an awful lot is we sit there and, you know, just put your hand over your heart. Well, we actually bring first our energy back down.
Yeah, we actually bring it down from source and into the heart because.
And then that's just kind of stopping and taking a breath, and then, you know, focus on your heart for a minute. You don't have to do the whole 5 minutes, but it's really so that you're not focusing from, because usually when you're taken by surprise, it's going to either put you in your fight or flight. So you're reacting with the spleen, which is, for those that aren't, or in the moment, or you're going to jump up to your head and you're just going to try to run through 1,000 scenarios. Okay, if I say this is going to happen, or if I quickly go and hide behind my head.
Yeah, or I can rationalize anything. I'll rationalize and then I'm ready to go.
So instead, what you want to do is, I mean, you can, instead of rationalizing, fight or flight, and it might, I'm not saying that it's not, okay, Karen often says this, and I can totally agree. If you're being chased by a bear, don't stop and drop down into your heart. Actually run.
You might want to run. There's a time and a place. So you might want to run if you're being chased by a bear.
But if it's just, if you walk into a conversation that all of a sudden kicks into your tribal, which I've seen Jamie do a lot. Jamie has a lot more tribal energy in her chart than what I do, active in her chart. So and that just, instead of kicking in and reacting first with what that kick, because that's natural. That's what's going to happen. Before that, you let your tribal rule what comes out. You might want to take a moment and say, I know I'm tribal on this.
Yeah, because I have the energy for war. So if like something gets triggered in my relationships or with my people, like it doesn't sound right, but I'm like, my first instinct's like, get them. You know, like I gotta go get them. I gotta attack. So for me, it's really important to just, you know, and just take a minute and take that breath, or I can get into trouble.
Okay, so now I'm going to segue into a different part.
Okay.
Because we use that really nice journal that you had as our image.
Yeah.
Be bold, be brave. So again, you can use that bold energy of Uranus, and we can use that, but working with the clients that you have, has there been, you know that someone's bold, or even when you think of yourself, you know that you're bold and fierce, but what usually holds us back?
Usually I just find fear of the unknown, also like fear of repercussions or fallout. You know, if I do this, I know what's going to happen. So it's easier to just stay quiet. If you have a lot of, you know, fear gates, you can get paralyzed by fear. So you might have every intention to go. You get so amped up and like, I'm doing this. And then that moment comes and it's like you can't push through. That's one thing I love about human design, is because I'm like, okay, you know what? Inadequate today, or you know what? I'm afraid that the timing's just not right, or I'm afraid, I have a lot of fear gates on my spleen. I'm afraid the past is going to repeat itself. Even in that, it can kind of loop back to pausing, even though, just like to get that clarity, like, okay, you know what? This isn't really something I need to fear. There's a repeating pattern that's played out so many times that I'm afraid that pattern's going to play again. I need to just do it. I need, because chronic fear, especially, it's just that it's in the moment. So it's like the one time that, like, if you can just do it and push through, on the other side of it, you're like, oh my gosh. And it's such a relief.
And do you find that a lot of the people, both of us included, that, you know, if you can get past it, then you can be bold. And then all of a sudden,
Yeah.
I like, for some reason, I really loved the word bold when it came up on that picture. It was like, just that
It
energy,
is.
that bold energy.
Yeah.
So how do you know? I mean, as we're talking, because now we have human design, and if there's people,
Mhm.
and if there's people that are new to human design,
Mhm.
if you want to be bold, how do you know the right action? I mean, I can go there, but I kind of want you to go there when you're doing it.
Thanks, Cindy. No. Yeah, I mean, for me, I always take it back to basics, follow type and strategy. So there's 5 different. I know I have trouble on here, but if I put my earphones in, really bad. So let me see if I can. And I talk with my hands. But yes, I'll try to talk a little closer. For me, so there's 5 types in human design. There's a whole bunch of different authorities, but the main ones are to know if you have an emotional authority or not, because emotional authority, you're going to need.
Actually, Jamie, you are cutting out a lot. So it's like every 3 words. So I'm just not, I'm going to recommend what I recommend. You might want to, if you have any other windows open on your computer, you might want to close them. Um,
Um,
and while Jamie's doing that, she was talking, while she's kind of looking, I'm going to take up where I'm going to go even more basic than authority. Because one of the first things you look at when you're looking at your human design and how you can make decisions, or the correct strategy to make decisions, is based on your type. And so both Jamie and I are generator types, and you'll see that often when we're together, I'm asking, and I'll even word it, Jamie's sacral. And I'll word it in a yes, no question. So when we were doing that exercise, I said, Jamie Sacral, would you like us to take us through a heart-centered meditation? And the way that Jamie answered was, she said, Sacral saying, uh-huh. And so that obviously means it's the right time, because that's dropping into what for generator types is an innate knowing. For projector types, they need to have time to discuss it. They need, and not be asked in yes, no questions. So it would be more of, if I was going to talk to a generator type, I'd probably say, I'm wondering, and I know that I know Sharon's on, so I'm going to pick on her. She's watching on Facebook. Sharon's our projector, one of the projectors. And I would say, Sharon, I'm wondering if you think this is a good time, or this would be a good time. Do you think that we could use in here that people would really want to know more about how to do, or have a demonstration that you could do on a heart-centered meditation? So, and she could say, well, I think it's the right time. And she could, and there might be some more going back and forth, because they might have to have a sounding board. So that's the projector. The manifestors, you also don't want to ask them a yes, no question, but you want to allow them to direct the flow of the conversation. So how would you see if I mean, you're part manifester. He's a manifester, manifesting generator. But how would you, to not interrupt your flow and to know that this is part of your, how would you word that to get a manifester?
When we're in the flow. Don't break my flow. No, I find that, because can you hear me better now?
Mhm.
Okay, good. I thought I closed up my browsers, but I didn't. So I find, because, a manifesting energy is so powerful, and it needs to feel inward to, like, have that creative spark, right? So for me, it's like, if you ask me, how do you feel about doing a meditation? So it's still an open-ended question, but it allows them to feel, because it's like, for a manifester, especially, it's an internal knowing. So
You're
I
still,
tend to go that.
sometimes you're still breaking up, but we're going to go with the flow because with
I'll try number 3. Oh,
and we're going to realize that, but
try again.
no, so that's just going back to foundations. And then I know that once she gets back in, part of that authority, I mean, again, so I have a defined spleen with the sacral. My sacral is still my authority, but I can do it in the moment with my defined spleen because I have a splenic authority. People with an emotional authority may need time to actually ensure that they're not reacting with the emotion of the moment.
Yes.
And so that's kind of the cycle. And I know that's where you're going. And I was wondering if you wanted to add something to that.
Yeah, for me, it can be frustrating. Hey, surprise, because I have to ride my wave. And I just want to, it can be hard when you just want to respond in the moment and you can't, well, when you know better, especially, you can't. So it's like, oh, man. So, but it does help with learning that, like waiting, which is not fun for a manifestor or a manifesting generator, especially.
But sometimes you don't have to wait a lot, unlike the reflector type who might have to wait
Oh,
a
gosh.
full lunar cycle in order to
28
know
days.
that is the correct decision because they're just taking in so many other people's energies that
Mm-hmm.
now I have an undefined G, which is the diamond in the center of the chart. If it's defined, it's yellow. But in that so I will often take in other people's energies and not even realize that, wow, I'm excited because they're excited, and it can be kind of a chameleon part there. So imagine a reflector who has all their centers undefined, those shiny little unicorns.
Yeah, we love reflectors, but they're rare.
They are very rare. Uh, I'm going to check Facebook real quick. If you wanted to go, I mean, so again, we're trying to blend that you have a new outer planet energy that's in a different sign. That is Taurus, which would be very earthy. That would have to do with, probably home and family, your values, and it can also. And Jamie was, I can. That's because Leslie, this is actually a webinar format, and so you will only see Jamie and I are presenters, and so the attendees we can see you in chat. But so if you have a question, you can put it either in the Q&A box or in the chat, and I can see that. So, and I'm also checking, like I said, going
I
back.
see reflector.
Yeah, we have a
The
reflector.
reflector's here and she's still hiding. See, they hide. They're rare. No,
No, but they can also tell. A reflector can also, because of their openness, can also tell the mood of the people they're with.
Yeah.
Which is really nice. Oh,
That's awesome. That's beautiful. Because reflectors are, gosh, they're rare, but they're so wonderful. Because reflectors are like the barometer. They let us know. To me, they're almost the heartbeat of the community. Because
yay, Leslie's learning to lead again. Yeah. And I like how you just said that, Jamie. That was very good. That you're like the heartbeat or the heart of the community, so that you can, if the community is down, the reflector may be down. If the community is upbeat, then you can tell that the reflector can do that.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go back to the bold.
All right.
So we're talking about, I keep bringing us, because I find Uranus a very bold energy. I mean, you might want to, it's an energy that you can make the change. Well, yay. So we're gonna put in a plug for Leslie. She has a reflector Facebook group, and she did her first webinar last week. She is being bold. Yay! Okay, we're gonna go. Yay!
Yes.
Because I know that often reflector. I mean, I would imagine. I am not a reflector, so I cannot say for sure. It's only, I'm talking from up here now, not, but I would imagine that having a group of reflectors together that you can actually, that can actually understand what you've been going through is very helpful. And it was wild, bold and wild. There's another one.
Yes,
Bold,
yeah.
wild, and fierce. You were
Yes,
using
right.
that energy. That's great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Um,
Awesome.
and so we were doing, I'm just looking at the time because I'm going, this is the right time, right?
I know.
I'm in a different time zone.
And I was an hour early to another thing earlier. Yeah. So we're just, me
we're
and
just,
Cindy, we're here, man. We just show up and respond.
so as we're going, there's other ways that as people, I mean, as a generator, a manifesting, all the types that each of us has ways that we remain timid. You know, I am now profiles, and here's a plug for next week's show. I saw it that I do believe next week's show, Karen's going to talk a little bit about profiles.
Oh, cool.
Could be wrong, but throwing it out there. As a 4/6 profile, I wouldn't necessarily go and hide. I would want things in place, and but as a 2/4, Jamie, what do you I would never think of Jamie as timid, but
I'm tenacious, maybe a little feisty, but no, there are times when I just want to be alone. It takes a lot for me to come out, and I'm really, really shy. Believe it or not, I'm really shy. But when I come on here, like I'm really comfortable with Cindy. She's my people, she's in my tribe. So I feel more comfortable. And the fact that I can't see everybody watching us also helps. I can only see Cindy. But if I could see everybody, I would be a wreck right now because I get so shy. And I think that's where the timid comes in. But the second line also, I mean, I don't want to go too deep, but it gets projected upon. So it can, you just don't want to like feel that or deal with that. Now,
there's, and then there's the fifth line that gets projected on,
yeah.
and the third line that likes to, and yes, Jamie is a man gen.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And so we have a reflector, we have a man gen, a generator. I know that we have a projector watching on Facebook.
Yeah.
And I'm sure I bet you if we polled, I bet you we have a manifester. So maybe we would have all 5 types represented.
There's our manifester. Linda just popped up on Facebook. Right on time.
Yes, right on time. Now we have all 5 types.
We have all 5 types.
So when we're asking that, and it's interesting when you know someone else's types, because then you can, and that's how in relation, it's usually not personal in energy. It can feel personal, but
yeah.
Now, go ahead.
I was gonna say that's why I wish everybody knew human design, so they could be like, if I'm running, it's like, oh, Jamie's she's in her flow. It's not personal if she doesn't hear me, or if I say something, she's like, arr.
Okay, so I'm watching the questions, and we have a little bit more to go through, but here's a question that's good. Jamie, explain how to talk to a manifestor. What's the language to get them focused? So as a manifesting generator, you can get focused, but you have to be willing to, as I try to focus Jamie.
Yeah, because I'm trying to find words because it's really hard when you're in your flow. But I mean, for me, like I'm single definition. I have all 4 motors. So when I go, it's almost like stopping a train because it's like has all this energy behind it. When you're able, honestly, the best thing is just to honor their flow and, just let them finish. However, if you're not able to because life happens and things need immediate attention, just kind of, if you acknowledge, I know you're in your flow right now, and I know, or I see you're really in the depths of creating, or, something like that. Like, I know you're in your flow right now, or I understand that you're deep in a creative process, or I know you're really busy right now with what you're doing, but I need, this is important. For me, I find it's more if you acknowledge that you see that I'm in my flow and I get that recognition.
Mhm.
Like, okay, I see that this is going on, and I'm like, okay, they know I'm doing something, or they know I'm in my flow, but so it must be important that they are, pulling me out of it. So just something as little as that, just like, I see you're in your flow right now, or I see you're really busy, but, I.
And it's a truth because you can actually be hyper focused because you're in your flow, and you are focused. You just might not. And I would imagine this is the same for a manifester, that they're focused. They know what you want to do when. And and I'm going to ask, would you think that um, in your manifester part, if someone saw that, but if they, tapped you on the shoulder just gently, and then said what you did, and let you complete, and also listen, because sometimes Jamie just likes to, and this is just from Jamie and I working together, that sometimes just need to throw noodles because they've got to get it out of their head on paper so that they can come back and look at it again. And to be that person that they can throw the noodles at is also very nice.
Yeah, it helps a lot. So I'll tell Cindy, just throwing noodles here, and even in that, am I informing? Because, manifesting generators, we need to inform.
And manifestors.
And manifestors, yes, especially manifestors, but
it's a manifesting energy, yeah.
Yeah. And that helps. But see, even in that as well, if you're going to be doing something as a manifesting generator or a manifester, if you inform ahead of time that this is what I'm doing, you'll find, and I find, or I'm finding more and more, that it's like something in the energy kind of holds everything at bay. Because it's like, I've informed, I've done what, again, that's going back to following type. I informed. And when I inform, I'm kind of informing the universe as well that this is what I'm doing, so if possible. And that really helps too. But if I don't inform Cindy and I just start going and doing something, and she comes like, we have a sales copy we're working on, and she informed me, but I didn't inform her. I was doing something else. And she's like, you ready to do the sales copy now? And I'm all in my flow, then I can get all jumbled up. Where had I just said, hey, Cindy, I'm going to go do the dishes real quick. So sometimes I tell Cindy, I'm going to do the dishes and I'm going to do this, just because I try to inform in everything.
Or with your son. I mean, that's not son. I mean, your child. Let's go back.
I do have a child, yes. Yeah.
Now we had another question that came up here on Zoom from Christine, and thank you for your compliment. She says, with the upcoming shift in Uranus, I'm feeling that I need to get my act together quickly. Us too. How do I help myself as a 2-4 man, Jen? Oh, wow. Look. Yeah. And others to get clear on what I want or help others to see what they want to get ready for this energy. Well, are you responding to answering that 2-4 man, Jen?
Apparently I am. Like, yeah, that's just another thing, because this is again why it's so important to follow type and strategy, because, we did that sacral is so wonderful to just be able, is this for me? But we get so, I do at least, and I know Cindy does, we have 48s flying everywhere between us. We love to go deep. We don't do anything that's not deep, but sometimes I can forget the most simplest thing to make the decision for me, because you don't find answers up here. We think we're conditioned and we're told, think about it. Sit there, your brain, think about it. No, you're never going to find answers there. Potentials and possibilities, but
inspirations.
Yeah, inspirations. Yeah. But there's really no answers, even though we have a gate of answers, but that's not even an answer.
It can be too many answers. Okay, so if she wanted to help herself and others with this energy, again, as we're saying, you want people to, one, know their human design type so that they know their strategy and that it's all energy, and two, to get clear on it, like for you, Christine, it would be as a management, you would want to bring in the sacral. So have someone that you can work with that asks you yes, no questions. For people that you're working with, you can, if they're a generator type, you can ask them yes, no. If they're a projector type, bring them into the, and I would imagine, you know, with the projector, asking for their advice is also very good. I mean, if it's something, because then what they can see that they're probably dying to share.
Yes, they want to be invited to share, and they're wise. They know, you know,
So
they're
that
like
they
the
can,
eternal sacrals. They know what we need.
and for the manifestors, just the inspiration that they can bring as you watch what they create would be wonderful. And as the reflectors, again, just if you're going, realizing that the reflectors, they really need to know that it's not all them, that they're probably bringing in a lot of energy and that they can gauge, you know.
Yeah.
And then we're going to go back to, here we go, let's go to.
And I just wanted to say too, and you know, observe your reflectors. You know, if Leslie were with us, I would keep an eye on Leslie if I could see her, just to see like where is Leslie at right now, because that's literally a reflection of me or of the community.
And if you're talking, I mean, I would imagine just like a 2 or 5, that you're with the reflectors, what you're probably seeing when you're in a conversation with them, and Leslie might be able to tell us in chat, is if you're in a conversation, she's focused right now. But
I have the 9 of my Earth, so at least maybe my incarnation crosses.
is whether I'm wondering, as a reflector, is if I'm talking to a reflector, am I actually putting my energy there and it's coming back at me? I mean, is that kind of what you see when you're in the conversation? Because I would imagine sometimes it does just kind of come back at you.
Yeah.
But that's, again, I will say, disclaimer, I am not a reflector.
But I usually have to make medical disclaimers. Cindy makes type disclaimers. And I did just want to address real quick too on the 2-4 part. And again, I'm not going to jump deep into profiles because that we think is next week. But the second line, the difference of the projection of the second line and the 5th line is the second line people project their expectations onto you. So I find this to be really key, Christine. This is when it's really good to ask your sacral, is this for me? Or should I be doing this? Because a lot of times we can feel, and this is any second line, not just the manifesting generator. That's just as a manifesting generator, you would ask your sacral. But, you know, whatever your type is, you know, responding or accepting invitations based on that, because a lot of times we can feel so much pressure. Like I'm tribal as all get out. I have a lot of tribal energy and I feel so much pressure when people want, you know, expect things of me, even if they're not aware that they're like putting the energy of expectation on. So that was a really, really big game changer for me. And I don't feel guilty because I trust my sacral. I don't move without my sacral. And I encourage everybody that's a sacral being and anybody in general, follow your type. I've been on a year-long journey of I'm just following my sacral. My sacral is guiding everything I do right now. And I am stepping out and making decisions that I never thought I could or I would because they're scary. And that's where that bold, fierce, free, you know, is coming. It's amazing because I'm supported because I'm doing what's truly in alignment, all by saying or and not feeling guilty because it, you know, and even at that, for a while I just said, you know what, it's not even me, it's my sacral. So talk to my sacral.
It must be my divine knowledge.
Yeah.
So on Facebook, Penny says she just on her following type and strategy, she's a projector who lives with a manifestor and manifesting generator. It's a good thing she knows this because I don't get upset when they don't tell me anything.
Yes, very sorry.
And also Penny, I mean, so I'm gonna ask Jamie on that. One of the things that you have with all that manifesting energy, or with the sacral energy there, both the manifestor and the manifesting or the projector need time to empty what they might have taken in from
Yeah.
the sacral since you're bringing it in.
Yeah.
Little tip. Okay. And Sharon says, all this depends on why we are working on if we are working from our true selves or conditioning, which
Mm-hmm.
is why authority and strategy are of utmost importance. They force us into our true self.
Mm-hmm.
And so did you want to, I'm going to say one more and then I want to come back to Sharon's.
Mm-hmm.
Lila, sorry, Lila, it's one of the, I am a 1-4 projector with emotional authority. I'm playing with waiting until I've gone through my emotional wave before making a decision. Having difficulty to knowing when I've completed this wave. Any suggestions? And I'll come back to Sharon's, but let's see if we can talk just a few minutes about conditioning and true selves.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's part of what that bold, fierce, free is bringing, and we're going to come back to what bold, fierce, free is and
Yeah,
why.
we'll get to you. Sorry.
But
I skipped a couple steps.
but if you're going, so your true self. Okay, let's start with conditioning. So as we're coming in, you're conditioned to respond in a certain way, and it could be from the people around you, your family, and your open centers. Because often what'll happen with your open centers is you'll get energy from the people around you. You'll think it's your own. You'll react like it's your own.
And you feel it so deeply because you take it in and you amplify it. And it's like, it can almost be something you feel so sure and certain of because it's like, I've never felt it so deep before, and it's like, so it feels like it's yours because, again, you feel it so deeply.
And so you're conditioned, and you can be conditioned even by, is we search for channels are like complete energy that we have when you have a channel, which would be a colored in line that would define 2 centers. But sometimes on a center, you have a hanging gate. And what will happen is you're always searching for the energy of the other side of the channel, because you want that's an electromagnetic attraction. Sometimes, and I've been known to do this, possibly is you will actually be conditioned to be living out what you're searching for, because, and you will think I'm this, and really that was just because that's the electromagnetic that you were going.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
That's okay. that was. We've gotten a couple more questions, so
Okay.
let's first go back with.
What you guys don't know is I was so afraid we wouldn't have enough things to talk about for an hour, and we're not even getting to the list. So
Lila was saying, I'm a 1-4 projector with emotional authority. I'm playing with waiting until I've gone through my emotional wave before having difficulty knowing when I've completed the wave. Now, as I do not have waves, I'm going to throw this one at Jamie.
Yeah.
And that was also a question there was also one out there from Leslie, like, how do you explain how long their wave might be? I mean, that's something that you kind of track. It's different for every person.
It is. Yeah. And then Sharon had a great response too that I'll read.
Okay.
After. But I mean, in general, I started tracking everything. Now I have 2 emotional waves. If you want to really go out there, which we're not going down the rabbit hole, I have a 3rd from my near death when I did it for a little bit, came back. I picked up another channel. But for the sake of just keeping it what it is, the 2 I have are pretty minimal. I have 2 tribal waves. I can usually just sleep on it unless something happens in a relationship. Then
or to your tribe.
Or my tribe, yeah, because then I'm lit. I can't help it. That's just me. I have, like I say, but in that, because one of the channels I have carries the energy of war. The other one is community and, commitment to community. So I'm like really, people, my tribe, and keeping them safe and defending them at any and all costs. So, I mean, I'll just stay in that mode if I get triggered because I want to, until I know that everybody's okay. It could be a day. Usually it takes me about 3 days to recover from any trigger. I get triggered and then I start tanking and then I kind of have the next day I'm down and then I come back up and usually 3 days I'm good to go. Some are just more extreme. You have high highs and you have low lows, or you can start to feel yourself going down, going down, going down, going down, and then coming up, coming up, coming up, coming up. Then there's things we have to throw in. For women, we have hormones, we have menstrual cycles to go along with these things. Food can affect our energy and flow. So what I found was, for me, I would literally track my moods. Every time my mood changed, I write it down and exactly what I did in that moment. Did I eat something? Was I premenstrual? Was I ovulate? It didn't matter. TMI, but I'm keeping it real because, that's things that women need to know. Was it a song? And if it was a song, was there a memory attached to it? Maybe there's something hidden underneath in that. And
so when you're doing that, I mean, how long it lasts is dependent on each person. It's dependent on the type of wave, totally. And it's dependent on, and I mean, even a collective wave can be different for each person. And Karen actually has done a couple talks. One here on, if you search on Facebook, and what I'll do after we're done here is I will link them, and then she has a couple on YouTube on emotional waves so that you can understand it. And I would imagine now in your counseling, or when we're counseling people, or when we're not counseling, when we're coaching. Okay, so it's
disclaimer: we are not licensed counselors. I don't know. Cindy's all over the place today. She's somehow amping my head from her.
It's like, okay, so we're not. So now we're going to go with the medical disclaimer, because we're not licensed counselors. We're not trying to take. We're here for informational purposes on how to better understand yourself. If there's if you're having serious problems, or if you're under a doctor's care, work with that, because we have nothing. And okay, so going back, I will place the links to I think 2 or 3 videos that Karen has done on emotional waves, and she goes into quite the 3 different types and how you can work with them. Working with, people get so caught up in emotional waves and that they're a bad thing. Now, I know that you have told me that you actually have come to love your emotional wave. And I do, and because at the low part, at the low part is where you actually have, and correct me if I'm wrong, this is where sometimes you've had your biggest creative burst, is when you're at the low part of a wave. Is that correct?
That's correct. Mm-hmm. And because, we always kind of say, think about it, all the great love songs, all the great heartaches, they're from when you're in the pain, you're in the thick of it, you're in the poop, I use another word, but we're on Karen's show today, so I'll keep it clean. But, but we're really in those places. But what I found is that I write so deeply, or if I'm making flower essences, I'm so tuned into the pain or the hurt, the anguish, whatever it is. I'm so tuned in that I can really feel what people need that are, in whatever emotion I'm feeling. So then I get clear, okay, now I create. And as I create and I tune into the energy of the different essences, or I write, sometimes I crack up because anybody that knows me knows I've been crying about writing a sales copy. Well, I was in some pain the other day and I wrote, and it ended up being part of my sales copy. And Karen actually really loved that part, so it was just like when I go into those places. And it also helps too to not be afraid to go there and not be afraid to feel it, and to not be afraid to put it out in a way that's right for you, because other people are like, I needed that. I really needed to hear that. So if we can take the power of the low and create, and in time, if it's right, and share, it helps lift you up. Like, I write from a place of pain, and seeing that I helped other people immediately, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad it resonated. And like, it just totally lifted me right out. But I just think about that, all the great artwork, all the great music. I'm not saying it hasn't been written in good times, but that deeply moving.
It's deep, and what you're doing is, you don't want to be afraid. It's a way to jumpstart your creativity, because that, and I really liked when I heard that, especially now. Gloria had a question. Her daughter has a defined solar plexus with active gates in tribal, individual, and collective.
Ooh.
Will she experience all three waves?
Mhm.
Don't just nod. I mean, there might be people just listening, because sometimes we multitaskers, even though I'm not a manifesting generator, I've lived with quite a few and worked with quite a few, might be listening in. So yes, she will have all three waves. And so she will have emotional authority, so she should be waiting until, and all the waiting is you're just checking in, even if it's 3 or 4 days, you're checking, and she's a manifesting generator, ask her, or she can be asking her, is this something I should be doing? Is it, she can have someone keep asking her the same question. Now, in our, Eileen asks,
Oh, I can say it's. Oh, shoot, she's gonna shoot me. I just cleared this up.
she is living
I
with
have
a
a real pronunciation of her name, is why I'm laughing at
Okay.
myself.
I'm sorry. She says she's a moldy, messy, and she's helping her and her household in exchange for living there. She's super scared to pressure, stress, or being emotional and caught up in it, or define her too much too often. How can you help me how to deal with her in that regards? And is there a way to address things in a good way so she can be good with it, and the trash food doesn't need to sit for a month or longer until she's moving it? That could be a good. I would say that, making sure that this is just me, and you might want to add to that, and then maybe Leslie will add to it as our reflector here, who has a reflector group. I would say that you need to, having it in writing is probably the better way, or make sure that you aren't overly emotional, because everyone's not always emotional. You can have conversations even if you're a defined emotion, and that she might pick up on those emotions and reflect them back to you. But there might be a point where, you can put it in you can have it in writing so that you both agree, make sure that you get out of each other's aura, because she'll have time where you both can clear out. I would think that spending time in nature for her would be good, very good. Possibly I would think spending time in nature and earthing is good for everyone, but that's just me.
Yeah.
And did you have anything you wanted to add?
No. I was feeling into it, but what I feel a lot. But what I'm feeling and my not having anything to say is, I think, is just part of that, like being able to get out of each other's energy. Like I just feel like that's my response, is because it's what I'm feeling, and I have sensing circuit that I have trouble articulating. But it kind of feels like just making sure that you're getting time. But I think your awareness, honestly, that is really, really good. And maybe just, if you can, if she'll listen about human design, just say, we agreed to these things. I know that you might need a little more rest, but I don't know, or this isn't working. This isn't what we agreed to. Do you feel there's another way that we can go about this? Because I have real concerns.
Well, that was very good. Now, I just want to thank people for doing, because we're coming up. We got a couple more questions.
Alrighty.
Sharon had a very nice, and the one that you wanted to share disappeared. But Sharon said, the waves give depth. We can see the depth as punishment or challenge, or we can see it as a chance to go deep, because the natural deep internal divers of humanity. Of course, the waters are murky there. That is the nature of deep waters, just like those that go deep into the mind, head, or knowings. Ajna. I like that, Sharon. That was very nice. Thank you for sharing that.
Do you see how the projectors come in and clean up? It just put perfectly what needs to be said.
I'm kind of going back to see. Now, Lynn said, going back, do transits affect more open people more than defined people? Uranus especially. It all depends on what it would affect in their chart.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and Eileen, just for the record, it's Eileen.
Eileen, okay.
I kept calling her Aileen. It's Eileen.
Eileen, okay. Well, I love the way that you spelled that. That's nice. Do transits affect different profiles differently? I would bring that question next week. I don't think they would, but different profiles may react differently. But I mean, the profiles, the transits aren't going to necessarily affect them differently because the transits are actually bringing you things to respond to. They're bringing things in your environment. They might temporarily give you definition. So sometimes you might all of a sudden feel, okay, if it gave you definition, if you had an open sacral and it gave you definition in the sacral, all of a sudden you might feel that you have energy that you didn't normally have. But what might happen if it's a transit in there, and when the transit's gone, then all of a sudden you may be, if you're not listening to your need for rest, you may become super tired after that. If you have an open will center and a transit brings a definition, that means that you have a defined channel between two different centers. You might feel that you can push through and do things. But again, the will center is here. They're here to work to rest. It might strengthen up the ego, but again, what it might be bringing you is bringing you things in your environment that'll help do that for you. That'll give you an awareness.
Yeah, like right now I'm in a 2-year head and ajna. I'm in a 2-year transit period of being 9 and 0. But I'm still not natally that, but I have a flavor of being 9 and 0 because I have a defined head and ajna. Supposedly, I'm supposed to feel that flavor now. Not always, but it can even be weird things. Like if you have a defined head and ajna, I never get headaches. I get headaches more often now, and I haven't until the transit started. And it's like I lost my pressure center.
Okay.
Or like the feeling of the pressure center.
So here we go. First, we loved all the questions and comments. Thank you, because we were actually kind of worried that we weren't going to be able to go the full hour.
I was freaking out.
And here
it was keeping me calm. I was like, oh my God.
And I want to take the last 2 minutes because what we've been going through, and we've been hinting at it, because the be bold, be brave, be fierce. Now, there's a program that Jamie's getting ready to open. And did you want to talk? And it's still complete. I mean, she has it ready, and we're just putting the finishing touches on it. Do you want to tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah. Okay, so that's funny, Lynn. Thank you. Yeah, so I'm putting together a program to help, and I mean, it's open to anyone, but preferably women, because I just love working with women. And really just using this energy now of this foundational shakeup and chance to really be bold. I'm calling it bold, fierce, free. And that's just what it is. It's about connecting and coming back, really coming, to the core of who we are so we can be us. We know who we are. We go in, we're going to go deep. It's me. I can't do anything but go deep. But it doesn't have to be painful and horrible, but going deep into really getting into that deep stuff that holds us back from being bold, living fierce, living free, being able to do whatever we know is right for us, no matter what is going on around us. So I really am looking for a group of 12 women. I want to cap it at 12, so I make sure that everybody's process is, honored. And also I'm able to sustain my energy and be present for everybody. But I'm really, really excited about it. I'm horrible at describing things, but it's really just getting you, just getting out, releasing, getting rid of,
So what you are bringing is there's different, Jamie has a massive amount of training and tools in her tool belt. I mean, I'm going to brag a little on Jamie. She's our potion lady. So she designs our flower essence. She's a homeopath. She has been working with cell salts, which are something truly new. And now she's working on, although we're both quantum alignment system practitioners, so that's bringing in the human design and releasing, using the emotional freedom technique, bringing in the flower essences, the essential oils. You're also bringing in other modalities with it, because she is an incessant learner, and she is learning new things, so that to be bold, fierce, and free, sometimes you have to work on the energetic bodies, because it's not just and your energetic and your physical bodies, because it's not just saying in your head, I'm bold, I'm fierce, I'm free. That's part of it. I mean, yeah, you can say that and you can write it out 10,000 times and you can still be hiding behind your desk.
Exactly.
But when you work at it, and the way that you've structured it with how many weeks is it? You said
It's going to be 12 weeks, because I want to go in, and the first thing, because I'm all about the energy, because we're energy beings. So for me, but really going in, I want to go in and really clear out your chakras, because I think that's pivotal, that to our energy body and our energy flow. But not just, oh, wear red. Like, we're going to go in and we're going to look at the archetypes of each chakra, and we're going to see where are you, if you have wounds, where are they around this chakra? And we're going to love each other, and we're going to witness each other. And we're, it's like the vibe, the energy that I feel of it is, it's honestly, it's a sacred sisterhood. It's safe. You can be where you are, exactly where you are, and we're going to love you anyway. And no matter what it is, and even if it's something that feels too big or too impossible, you don't have to do it alone. We'll get you through. We're here to hold each other. We're here to help each other. We're here to guide each other and learn from each other and grow from each other. So I'm really, really looking forward to it. And once we go through that, there's 5 key points I want to touch on that really can hold us back, around lovability, around acceptance, especially around forgiveness, around courage. And
so this is a brief explanation, because we could probably have done a whole webinar on that. And I'm doing my timekeeper. This is,
No, I'm sorry, I can't tell you anymore.
But what we are going to do is we're going to post it in the comments, and then I will add it to the description, a link to a opt-in, so that you can be one of the first people to know when Jamie opens up the program, so that you can read more about the program, how it's going to be structured, and get on the list. Because remember, she wants to limit it to 12 to make sure that, and 12 is such a nice number. I mean, if you think about that, that's one of those magical numbers.
Yeah. And now, what Cindy pointed out, 12 weeks, which I didn't even realize. It's like, I keep hearing 12, and it was like 12 people, 12 weeks. Like, how perfect. I didn't even realize it.
And the other thing I want to do is I'm going to, other plug, we're still taking, people can still register for the Master Alignment Program, which, guess what? Jamie's going to be one of the teaching practitioners in that.
I'm being bold, ladies. I'm being bold.
And what the Master Alignment Program is working with the quantum alignment system, and it's working on doing the 9 keys that Karen has identified. And I'm sure that you'll see more of the information there. And this is going to be a brief, like 4.5 weeks. And so we're going to be doing more than 1 key. There's going to be 2 different times you can participate both times, or you can come either in the morning or the evening. And I will put a link to that in the description, and again in the comments after. It's just,
he's going to have all kinds of links.
They're going to have all kinds of links, so that you could, but we want to fill you with information. And now I just want to thank everybody for coming and sharing the space with us.
Yeah,
and thank Karen for allowing us to come on and talk about what we're working on.
Yeah.
And Karen will be back again next week for the Quantum Alignment Show. Want to thank, all the people that were here bringing such questions, and we're sorry we didn't get to them, but we might come back and see if we can see it under the comments. But thank you.
Thank you.
And Eileen, see, I'm going to say it right.
Eileen, very good.
All right. Well, bye, everybody.
Bye, y'all. Love you. Be blessed.